It was a dreary afternoon in Raleigh, North Carolina, the kind where the sky couldn't decide whether to pour or tease with a misty drizzle. Inside Apex Luxury Autos, the showroom sparkled like a jewel box. Polished concrete floors reflected rows of gleaming vehicles, SUVs with chrome accents, electric sedans humming quietly, a lone convertible winking under the spotlights. Sales reps in crisp blazers sipped craft coffee near a sleek lounge, trading quips about last night's Hurricanes game and their latest deals. Then the glass doors slid open with a faint whoosh. A man stepped in, and the room's polish seemed to dim. He was old, mid-70s, maybe more. Hunched slightly, his face weathered like cracked leather. A soggy denim jacket hung loosely over a faded plaid shirt, the cuffs frayed and speckled with mud. His khakis were wrinkled, his work boots leaving faint smears on the floor. A tattered ball cap shadowed his eyes, and he clutched a worn canvas bag that looked like it had seen better decades. His scowl was sharp, his voice gravelly when he spoke. "Anybody here actually does their job, or y'all just posing for pictures?" he barked, loud enough to cut through the lounge's ambient jazz. Heads swiveled, smirks flickered. "Wrong address, Pops," muttered Caleb, a top salesman with a slick ponytail and a smartwatch that blinked with notifications. He leaned against a silver SUV, nudging his coworker, Lauren. "Bet he's looking for the junkyard," Lauren whispered, her eyes glinting with amusement. The team sized him up. No swagger, no status, no cash vibe. Just a grumpy old guy who'd probably wandered in to escape the rain. But someone stirred. From behind the welcome desk, Ellie, a 25-year-old newbie barely a month into the job, stood up. She was still navigating the high-stakes world of luxury sales, where every handshake was a gamble and every client a potential jackpot. Her colleagues had hammered one rule into her: don't waste energy on people who can't afford the keys. This guy looked like he couldn't afford the coffee. Yet something tugged at her. The way his gaze lingered on a forest green SUV, not with awe but with a quiet calculation, like he was measuring its worth beyond the price tag. Maybe it was the way he shifted his weight, favoring one leg. Or maybe it was just a hunch from growing up in a town where folks judged hearts, not wallets. Ellie grabbed a tablet loaded with specs and walked over. "Hey there," she said, her smile easy but genuine. "Welcome to Apex. Got something in mind today?" He squinted at her, rain dripping from his cap. "You for real? Not gonna tell me to hit the road? Not unless you start hot wiring the inventory," she said with a grin. He snorted, a rough, almost laugh. "Need something tough, roomy? I have a granddaughter who loves road trips. Wants to see the Blue Ridge." "Perfect," Ellie said, pointing to the green SUV. "This one's got all-wheel drive, tons of cargo space, and tech to make those mountain drives smooth." Across the room, Caleb chuckled. "Ellie's playing tour guide for the homeless," he muttered to Lauren. Ellie didn't flinch. She was already explaining towing capacity to the old man. Ellie guided him across the showroom, his boots squelching faintly. She swiped her tablet, pulling up details for the SUV, a rugged model called the Summit. "This one's got a hybrid V6, 400 horsepower, and a suspension that eats up rough roads. Plus, the back seats fold flat for camping gear or whatever your granddaughter wants to haul." He leaned closer, peering inside. "Looks like a spaceship. Don't need all these gadgets. Just want something that'll last." "Got it," Ellie said, unfazed. "We can tweak it, less tech, more durability. Let's try another one, simpler vibe." He trailed her to a steel gray SUV with a boxier frame, his limp more pronounced now. He moved like every step was a negotiation with his body, but his eyes were keen, catching every detail, the scuff on a rim, the stitch of the leather. In the lounge, Caleb sipped his coffee, smirking. $5 says he's just here for the free Wi-Fi." Lauren laughed. "She's gonna burn her whole shift on this guy." Ellie tuned them out. She opened the gray SUV's door, letting the man ease into the driver's seat. He gripped the wheel, his knuckles knotted like old tree roots, and for a split second his scowl faded. "Reminds me of my old van," he mumbled, Drove it cross-country with my wife. She loved those trips. Ellie softened. Sounds like good memories. Where's she now, if you don't mind me asking? He stared at the dashboard, his voice quieter. Heart attack. 3 years back. Left me her girl to raise. The kid's 16, full of fire, wants to be a park ranger. I'm sorry, Ellie said gently. Raising a teenager solo sounds like a big job. He shrugged, but his eyes glistened. She's worth it. A beat of silence passed, heavy but warm. Then he tapped the console, chuckling. Still got these tiny cup holders. Can't even fit a decent mug. Ellie grinned. Right? I'll tell the engineers to think bigger. 30 minutes later, Ellie showed him 2 more models, a burly pickup and a sleek hybrid crossover. She let him adjust mirrors, test the sound system, and even explained payload limits for hauling a camper. She didn't push, didn't rush, just listened as he grumbled about overpriced tires and shared snippets about his granddaughter's obsession with stargazing. The team's patience wore thin. Caleb strode past, loud enough to sting. Ellie, we're here to close deals, not run a soup kitchen. She kept her cool. Helping someone is the deal. Helping customers is, Caleb shot back, winking at Lauren. The old man heard it all. Your friend's a real charmer, he said, voice dry as gravel. He thinks confidence is a substitute for brains, Ellie replied, low enough to earn a raspy chuckle. They settled on a bench near the coffee bar. These prices, he said, glancing at a spec sheet, they're steeper than I figured. I hear you, Ellie said. We've got financing options, trade-ins, whatever works, no pressure. He nodded slowly like he was chewing on more than just numbers. Might come back. Gotta sleep on it. I can hold a model for you, Ellie offered. Just let me know. He studied her, his gaze piercing. You're not like them. They look at me like I'm dirt. Ellie hesitated, then spoke plainly. My dad's a mechanic. Worked his whole life in a shop no bigger than a garage. He taught me everybody's got a reason for walking through a door. I'm just here to find out yours. His face softened, and for a moment he looked less like a stranger and more like family. He reached into his bag and pulled out a creased business card. If you need me, he said, handing it over. Ellie glanced at it. Apex Ventures founder. No name, just a phone number and a logo that matched the dealership's branding. Her heart skipped. Apex? Like this place? He winked. Call me Jim. That's enough for now. I shuffled out into the mist, leaving the showroom humming with unease. Ellie stood rooted, the card in her hand feeling like a live wire. Apex Ventures? Was he the owner? A retiree pulling a prank? Or something else? Her mind churned. She'd heard rumors in the break room, shady deals, missing inventory, whispers of a corporate crackdown. Caleb's bravado had been slipping lately, his jokes edged with nerves. She slipped into the back office, where the manager, Nate, was on a heated call. No, it's under control. They won't trace it. Look, I said I'd handle it. He hung up, startled to see Ellie. Everything good? She asked, keeping her tone light. Nate forced a grin. Just vendor drama. What's up? Nothing, she said, but her gut screamed. Nate's hiding something, and Jim might know what. She returned to her desk, the card burning a hole in her pocket. Caleb was schmoozing a couple in designer coats, but his glances darted toward Nate's office. Lauren was unusually quiet, her fingers tapping nervously on her phone. Ellie's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number? Keep your eyes open. Trouble's brewing. Jay. Her pulse spiked. Jim? How'd he get my number? An hour later, the doors slid open again, and the air turned electric. It wasn't Jim. A woman in her late 40s, tailored blazer, eyes like a hawk. She carried a laptop and a folder stamped with the Apex logo. Behind her, a man in a dark polo, clearly security, scanned the room with a stare that pinned everyone in place. Where's Nate? The woman demanded, her voice slicing through the showroom's hum. Nate emerged, his face ashen. Miss Harper, I didn't know you were. Save it, Harper said, brushing past him. We're talking, now. Ellie watched, her heart racing. Harper was Apex's VP of operations. She'd seen her name in an email about compliance audits. Why was she here unannounced? Caleb, mid-pitch to a customer, faltered as Harper's security guy locked eyes with him. Lauren whispered to another rep, "This is bad." Ellie's phone buzzed again. Check Caleb's desk. Top drawer, back left. J. Her hands trembled. "What am I walking into?" She waited until Harper and Nate vanished into the office, the security guy stationed outside. Customers were thinning out, sensing the tension. Ellie edged toward Caleb's desk, pretending to grab a pen. The top drawer was ajar. She nudged it open, spotting a small notebook tucked in the back. She flipped it open. Dates, model numbers, dollar amounts, sales that didn't match the system's records. One entry caught her eye, Summit SUV 85K, cash, off books, and Nate. She snapped a photo and texted it to Jim's number, her breath shallow. The office door flew open. Harper stormed out, Nate trailing like a scolded kid. She faced the staff, her voice cold. "This branch is under investigation. We found evidence of fraud, ghost sales, laundered deposits, and vehicles missing from inventory. I want every sales log on my desk by 5 p.m., no exceptions." Caleb's jaw tightened. He inched toward the side exit, but the security guy stepped forward. "Don't move," he said. Ellie's mind raced. Jim knew. But how? And why me? The doors opened again, and the room froze. Jim walked in. No denim jacket, no limp, no grumble. He wore a tailored charcoal suit, his posture tall, his eyes sharp as steel. The canvas bag was gone, replaced by a leather portfolio. Harper nodded to him with deference, like he was the one calling the shots. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jim said, his voice calm but commanding, "my name is Jim Kessler. I founded Apex Ventures 35 years ago with one principle: treat every person like they're the only one in the room." He scanned the faces. Caleb's panic, Lauren's guilt, Nate's defeat. "Today, I came here as nobody. Wet boots, bad attitude, no flash. Most of you ignored me, judged me, laughed. But worse, some of you've been stealing from the company I built." He turned to Caleb. "Your notebook's with our auditors now. Over $200,000 in off-book sales funneled through fake accounts. You thought you were clever." Caleb stammered, "I didn't." "Don't," Jim said, his tone final. "You're fired. Legal's waiting." He faced Nate. "And you signed off on those deals, didn't you?" "Thought I'd never come back to check." Nate's head dropped. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kessler." "Too late." Jim said, "You're out." He turned to Ellie, his expression softening. "But one person saw me. Not a sale, not a problem, a person." She listened when it was easier to walk away. He pulled a document from his portfolio. "This branch is getting a $750,000 reset. New systems, new training, new heart. Ellie, you're promoted to general manager, effective today. I want you to rebuild this place from the ground up." The room gasped. Ellie's legs wobbled, but she stood firm. "Mr. Kessler?" "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he said with a faint smile. "You earned it when you treated a nobody like somebody." I addressed the staff again, his voice steady but heavy. "This wasn't just about kindness. For months, I've tracked leaks in my company, cars sold under the table, profits siphoned off. I came here today to find the truth, not just about you, but about who's been bleeding Apex dry." He nodded to Harper, who tapped her laptop. A screen lit up with a chart, sales records, bank transfers, names. Caleb and Nate were at the center, but another name blinked, Lauren. "Lauren," Jim said, his tone even. "You didn't steal, but you knew. Covered for Caleb, warned him about audits." Lauren's eyes widened. I was scared. He said I'd lose my job." Jim studied her. "Fear's no excuse for silence. You've got one shot, full cooperation with our investigation, or you're out." She nodded, tears brimming. "I'll help." But the real shock came next. Jim turned to the staff. "There's more. Someone else was pulling strings. Someone outside this branch. We traced payments to a vendor, Horizon Leasing. Know who owns it?" He paused, letting the question hang. "Caleb's brother-in-law. He's been fencing our inventory for a year, with Nate's approval." The room went silent, the weight of betrayal sinking in. Caleb's face crumpled, no fight left. As dusk settled over Raleigh, Ellie stood outside Apex, her new badge clipped to her blazer. "General Manager, The air was cool, the drizzle gone, replaced by a sky streaked with gold. Her phone buzzed with a final text from Jim. Build something honest. You're the spark. JK inside, the showroom was quiet. Harper oversaw the staff, collecting logs and resetting systems. Caleb and Nate were gone, escorted out by security. Lauren sat at her desk, writing a statement, her second chance hanging by a thread. Ellie thought of her dad, still fixing cars in a small shop back home. He'd always said, people don't buy cars, they buy trust. Earn that, and you've got everything. She'd watched him treat every customer like a neighbor, whether they drove off in a pickup or walked away empty-handed. Today, she'd lived up to that. But the twist stayed with her. Jim hadn't just tested their hearts. He'd hunted a conspiracy, using his disguise to expose a network nobody suspected. And Ellie, by chance or fate, had tipped the scales. This wasn't about selling a car. It was about what you do when the world's not watching, or when you think the person in front of you doesn't count. Ellie didn't win because she outsmarted anyone. She won because she cared when it cost her nothing but time. So the next time someone walks through your door, tired, rough, invisible, don't turn away. They might be testing you, they might be saving you, or they might be the key to a truth you never saw coming.